Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are going to presentation about teaching grammar. We are from two. The member is me, Adi Prabowo, Rega Bagaswan Putra, Isken Seri, Jasmine, and Jilan Lemofit. So the first material will be contributed by me. Okay, the first one example introduce grammar. Example is present simple. Uh, Grammar teaching can during other activity like studying text or addressing unexpected grammar issue. We can use color books or plan ahead to teach specific grammar or points. Different methods like providing example and having students identify patterns can be used to introduce grammar. Practice and grammar, practice and games can make learning more engaging. In this capture, we will discuss activity for learning grammar. I want to discuss about basic of grammar and how to teach. The first one is present simple. Present simple is teaching grammar related to the present simple tense in essential because it informs the foundation of English verb conjugation. Here, step by step guide for teaching the present um, simple tense. The first one is introduced to the concept. Begin by studying that the present simple tense is used to talk about habits, routines, facts in general, truth, and schedule even. Example, provide example to illustrate the structure. The first one is positive. I play tennis every Saturday. Negative. She doesn't like spicy food. Spicy food. Question: do you watch movie often? Next is explanation. The first one is affirmative. Subject plus base perform plus verb. For example, I eat. Negative. Subject plus auxiliary verb do or does plus not plus base form of the verb. For example, she doesn't eat. Question: auxiliary verb do or does plus subject plus base form of the verb. For example, do you eat? Next, explain when to use present simple tense. For habits and routine. For example, I woke up at 6 a.m. every day. For general fact and truth, for example, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Next is for schedule event. For example, the train departs at 3 p.m. Next is past simple irregular verb. So, itu sama. Dah. Okay, next is past simple irregular verb. Teaching the past simple tense with irregular verb can be a bit more challenging than regular verb, but it's essential to help students understand how to use this verb correctly. Here is a structured approach to teaching the past simple tense with irregular verb. Past simple tense is used to describe completed action in the past. Emphasize that irregular verbs do not follow the typical ed pattern for forming the past tense, and it has its unique form. You can provide students with a list or create flashcard or visual aid. Past simple form. For example, present eat past ate. Present go past went. Present have past had. Next is reporter speech. Teaching reporter speech, also known as Indian speech, involves helping students understand how to convey someone else's words or thoughts. Here is a step-by-step approach to teach reported speech effectively. The first one introduced to reported speech. Begin by explaining the reported speech. Reported speech is used to report or convey what someone else has said without quoting their exact word. Emphasize that it involves a change in pronouns, verb tense, and sometimes time expression. Next is direct and indirect speech. Differentiate between direct speech or quoting someone word exactly and indirect speech reporting someone word. Pronoun change. In reported speech, pronoun often change. For example, I in direct speech become he or she. In reported speech, depending on the gender of the person speaking. Next, verb tense change. Verb tense shift in reported speech, generally present tense shift to past and past tense shift to past perfect or if applicable. For example, I am becomes he or she was, and I said becomes he or she said. Next, reporting verb. Common reporting verbs like say, tell, ask, explain, and mention. These verbs are used to introduce reported speech and are often followed by a non-clause. Next is time expression. Discuss how time expression might need to change when reporting speech. For instance, today might become that day and now might become then. Next, reporters question and comments. The question often start with reporting verb like ask or wonder, and comments are reported using phrase like told me to or asked me to. Next is should and shouldn't have done. Teaching grammar related to should and shouldn't have done involve helping students understand and use the structure to talk about past action and regrets. Here's a ways to teaching this grammar point. The first was introduction of the concept, starting by explaining that should and shouldn't have done is used to express regret or criticism about past action. It implies that something different or better could have been done in the past. Um, Provide example to illustrate the structure. Positive. I should have studied more for the exam. Negative. She shouldn't have eaten so much before the race. Next, explain about usage. Explain when to use should have done and shouldn't have done. For example, should have done express to get our advice in hindsight, and shouldn't have done express disapproval or regret for something that was done in the past. Okay. Okay. Next material about discovering grammar will be presented by Rega. Rega.
Okay, I will explain about discovering grammar. Discovering grammar is an introduction to English sentence structures, encourage students to explore grammar through a unique discovery approach, both critical thinking and text analysis. So the first example is comparative adjective. Comparative adjective is a comparative adjective is used to compare two or more things and typically and it will compare something like interesting to more interesting. In this example, students have listened to a dialogue in which people have been comparing things before moving on to make their own sentence. The teacher wants to draw their attention to the way that we make adjective comparative. For example, is like old to older, new to newer, light to lighter, and big to bigger. And the second example is rules and freedom. The function of this is expressing obligation, like can, have to, must, allow. So in this example, from an intermediate course book, the students are going to look at obligation language, some of which they may have already come across separately. The teaching sequence starts when students discuss what rules they would expect to find in place, such as airports, bars, and pubs. For example, like you can find there like no smoking or no parking, and they will make their own sentence about it. I think that's it.
Bonus apa lagi tadi? Okay, thank you again. Next material about practicing grammar.
Okay, the next is practicing grammar. Practicing grammar in teaching grammar is a fundamental aspect of language education. It entails a multifaceted approach combining the use of textbooks, workbooks, and exercise to provide structured learning. Real-life examples from literature and daily conversations contextualize grammar rules, aiding comprehension. Interactive elements like games, online resources, and quizzes make learning engaging and interactive. Writing assignments encourage practical application, while peer review and discussions facilitate collaborative learning. Visual aids and diagrams simplify complex concepts, and grammar drills enhance accuracy, and speed. Regular assessments help monitor progress. Ultimately, the teacher's guidance, explanations, and corrections are essential for effective grammar instruction, ensuring students develop a strong foundation in language skill. Okay, the example of how grammar is practiced in classroom. The first is the the grammar point. For example, you use present continuous tense. Example like I am reading. Okay, the context. The teacher is focusing on the present continuous tense to describe actions happening at the moment of speaking. Okay, the example activity. Step 1, introduction. The teacher begins the lesson by showing a short video clip of people doing various activities, such as playing soccer, cooking, and reading. Step 2, comprehension. The teacher initiates a class discussions about what the students see in the video. Students describe the actions happening in the video using the present continuous tense. For example, a student might say, the person in the video is playing soccer. Step 3, guided practice. The teacher provides a structured exercise where students complete sentences using the present continuous tense. For example, they might have to complete sentences like she blah 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 read a book right now, which is the answer is reading. Step 4, real life scenario. The class engaged in a role-playing activity where they act out real life situations. For example, students could pair up and have a conversations where one is a journalist interviewing the other who is a famous actor. The actor describes what they are doing at that moment using the present continuous tense. Step 5, error correction. As a student engaged in the role-playing activity, the teacher observes and takes note of any grammatical errors. After the activity, there is a group discussions where the teacher provides gentle correction and feedback, emphasizing correct usage of the present continuous tense. The last step is expansion. To further reinforce the grammar point, the teacher assigns homework that involves writing short paragraphs about their daily routines using the present continuous tense. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for your attention.
D. Grammar games. As we show on page 3046, many games from TV and radio can be adapted from classroom use. The following 4 examples, however, show how we can design games especially for learners. We hope they will engage students and encourage them to use the target structures with enthusiasm. Thank you.
Okay, the next material by me, using grammar books. Both student and teacher, student may consult grammar books for a number of reasons. For example, student may be drafting or redrafting a piece of work and may want to check that they are using some aspect of grammar correctly. Alternatively, a teacher having noticed that a student is making a lot of mistakes in one particular area might tell the student to look up the language in grammar book in order to understand it better. Chapter notes and further reading grammar activities. Grammar books. There are a large number of grammar books available, two of the most impressive modern reference grammars are Carter and M. Carty. Grammar practice. For students, the most common study and practice grammar is the English Grammar in Use series by R. Parpy and other. But see also grammar practice for elementary students by Walker and S. Wood and Real English Grammar by H. Lowe. Okay, next.
Okay, I think that's all about our presentation. Thank you for your attention. And I end with Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi